Aliens have invaded Earth, and they're not here to play. No, they're here for our resources, our planet, and maybe even you. In this episode, I'm going to take you through what would happen during the first 48 hours of an alien invasion. Yeah, all the way from first contact to what the world looks like at the end of 2 days. And trust me, it's not going to be pretty. Or maybe it could be a beneficial relationship. Maybe these aliens would want to cooperate with us. Well, I guess we'll have to watch to find out. Hour 1. The first thing that would happen, even before the full-on invasion starts, would be us picking up an extraterrestrial signal from space. This would likely be detected by the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, or SETI. This is the organization constantly scanning the skies for sounds and signals out in the cosmos. Once a signal is found, the research team would determine whether or not it's coming from an alien source. They compare the signal to other natural sources found in space. Normally, the research team finds one of these signals and determines if it's something like a star or a pulsar or another celestial object. But this time, it's something very different. It's an entire alien race. Once the signal is confirmed to be aliens, the scientific community and world governments will be notified. The first nations to be alerted will be the United States, Russia, and China, since they all have space capabilities. At first, governments will try their best to keep this information secret. They know that the news of an alien invasion would mean absolute chaos for the world. But shortly after the discovery, it'll be clear they don't have a choice. Hour 5. Okay, things are moving fast. The aliens have now landed on Earth. Scientists have tried contacting them, but have received no response. Silence. What could they possibly want? And who are these alien creatures? Now, imagine if the aliens that attacked our planet weren't just powerful, but terrifying monsters with incredibly sharp hearing. They'd pinpoint the slightest sound to hunt and kill. Could we defend ourselves against something like that? Okay, quick brain fact. Did you know that curiosity is one of the only emotions that actually rewires your brain in real time? The moment you lean in to understand something, like you are right now, your neurons start building new pathways. When you watch curiosity-fueled content like this, your brain treats it like active learning, decoding and making sense of new ideas just like it does when you solve a puzzle. So, watching our shows is literally good for your brain. Well, that's why we launched the Popular Science Fast channel, where you can stream all our shows 24/7. Tune in any time of day and you'll find mind-bending science from us and from some of the world's leading creators, including NASA's spaceflight, Hacksmith, and Complexly. Plus, live rocket launches, documentaries, and deep dive specials. It's basically a non-stop feed of curiosity, always on, always learning. We're currently available on 10 different platforms, including Vizio, Roku, and Plex, but we're just getting started. We're reaching tens of millions of homes and streaming devices all over the globe, and that audience keeps growing every month. And the channel just keeps evolving. We're adding brand new series and specials monthly, from breakthroughs in tech to space exploration coverage you can watch live. It's a front row seat to the new space race, alongside a 150-year-old legacy of science storytelling, now being brought to streaming for the first time. So, if you ever finish one of these streams and still want more, well, you don't have to wait. You can jump straight into Popular Science and keep that curiosity going. It's there 24/7, ready whenever your brain wants its next aha moment. The aliens may present themselves in any number of different ways. Maybe they're humanoid looking with big eyes and tall bodies, or maybe they look like nothing we've ever seen before. They've likely adapted to whatever alien environment they've evolved in and become creatures we can't even imagine. Another theory? Maybe these aliens aren't organic at all, but are instead artificial intelligence. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think this theory might ring true. After all, engineering this kind of advanced space travel would take a ton of time, effort, and brain power, something AI happens to be really good at. AI aliens also wouldn't have to worry about the limits that organic life might have. For example, they wouldn't have to worry about whether a planet has the perfect conditions for life like we humans do. They could travel to any old barren planet, harvest it for what it's worth, and move on to the next one. But how would they get here? Well, since we've never seen aliens in our galaxies before this, it's safe to say that this civilization has warp drive technology. They're likely from a star system several light years away. The only way they could get here is with a spaceship that travels faster than light. Okay, but that's not important right now. The aliens are here, hovering right at our doorstep. What's their plan? What happens if they're here to take over? Hour 10. All right, now instead of this being an innocent little alien discovery, it seems that this intergalactic civilization is here to attack Earth. But why? Well, it could be for a number of reasons. Earth is a rich planet with tons of resources, from minerals to fossil fuels and, of course, water. Maybe the aliens are here to harvest that. Or maybe they're simply looking to expand their empire. After all, Earth is a pretty rare and special place. It's one of the only true habitable planets that we know of. These aliens might want to try building up a new race of humans. The aliens would start their attack using whatever spaceships they came with. These would likely be equipped with some advanced alien tech, stuff we haven't even dreamed about. The various military powers of the world would do their best to fight back. They might try fighting the aliens with advanced jets in the sky, but likely there'd be no chance for us humans here. The aliens might have laser beams, nanotechnology, or antimatter bombs. Even though our militaries have had some training for situations like this in the past, it wouldn't be enough. Our technology just isn't nearly as advanced. Our militaries don't stand a chance. Sorry, United States, even with $1 trillion annual military budget, you still can't beat space lasers. Even as we try our best to fight back, complete panic will have taken over on Earth. Governments will be scrambling to think of a plan, and everyone else will be preparing for what's to come. Hour 12. Every single military force in the world has now joined forces to fight off the aliens. Things are looking desperate. Extreme measures like nuclear weapons are being considered, but governments are choosing to hold off on those until they have no other choice, because firing off nukes would mean catastrophe for all life on Earth. The aliens are attacking key infrastructure on our planet. Yeah, they're not just destroying every bright, shiny light or firing into crowds of people. Remember, this is an advanced civilization. They're calculated in this attack plan. They'd be going after our military bases, power grids, and transportation systems. In a matter of hours, the world would go completely dark. We'd have no means of communication, and our ability to fight back would be dwindling. Hour 24. Okay, it's been one full day since we made contact with the aliens. World powers have been doing their best to try to negotiate and communicate with them, but no luck. Civilians have been forced to evacuate every major city. They're racing to remote locations where they can hide out in hope of survival. And while civilians are trying to survive, scientists would be doing their best to reverse engineer any alien technology that they might be able to get their hands on. Maybe the aliens are using biological weapons to take us out. Well, scientists would be racing to create vaccines, preventative measures, or treatments. Hour 30. 30 hours into this invasion, the world's military efforts could be crushed. If the alien technology is so vastly superior, which we're assuming it is, our militaries wouldn't stand a chance. Key military locations like air bases and naval fleets would be destroyed or severely weakened. Our main hope now is guerrilla warfare by civilians. We'd need to fight back or protect ourselves with whatever weapons we have or could make. The people of the United States would be in better shape than most of the rest of the world, there are nearly 500 million privately owned firearms in the country, which hopefully would help them when it comes to fighting aliens. But for what's coming next, we might have no chance against it, no matter what weapons we have. But before we get to that, let's pause a second. Let's take a step back and look at the possibility of an advanced alien race not being hostile. This doesn't have to be War of the Worlds, does it? Well, there are a couple of different theories. There's a good chance that a civilization this advanced would have had to evolve ethically and peacefully. Historically, societies with tons of conflict and war easily destroy themselves. So, for a society to get this far, it might be peaceful and not want to start a fight. Another theory is that aliens wouldn't be interested in or need Earth's resources. Depending on their needs, space is full of all sorts of different materials. Energy from stars, rare minerals found in asteroids. Earth might just be another planet with resources aliens could find elsewhere, so why go after us? And then there's the galactic zoo theory. Maybe aliens just want to observe us. We could be like a nature conservatory for the alien race. They want to watch and study us, but not interfere with our evolution or progress. Maybe over time they'd want to cooperate with us. But maybe none of that would happen. Maybe these aliens want to conquer us in order to prevent any kind of future destruction we might cause. Let's go back to our timeline. Hour 36. Okay, now things are getting really serious. With our governments destroyed, cities in peril, and all of society in chaos, the aliens are looking to execute the next phase of their plan. They're gonna terraform Earth, modify us. This could be done in a number of ways. The first thing they might do is alter our atmosphere. Depending on the aliens' needs, they might deploy nanobots to release various gases like methane, carbon dioxide, maybe even ammonia. This change in atmosphere might slowly kill all humans and other life on Earth. But before that happens, aliens might first geoengineer our planet. They could change the direction of the sun by using orbital mirrors, which could significantly affect Earth's temperature, either by making it too hot or too cold. For us, that is. The alien civilization might also want to change or manipulate our oceans. They could release various substances to change the salinity or acidity of the water. Changes like this would affect all marine life and likely all life on Earth. Next, the aliens are feeling even more destructive. They're starting to activate dormant volcanoes and create earthquakes all around the globe, either in an attempt to craft Earth the way they'd prefer to see it, or to get easy access to various resources. Hour 48. Okay, the aliens have officially taken us over. There's no going back. Society has completely collapsed. Billions of humans are still left, but our numbers will dwindle over time. And those of us that are still around are being used for genetic harvesting. The aliens are experimenting on us, testing our bodies and organs. They might also want to study our brains. They might use our memories or neurological capabilities for complex math equations or computing other kinds of information. This is a simulation of what would happen if an interstellar harbinger of doom smashed into Earth. That odd cigar-shaped asteroid is Oumuamua. It's the first interstellar rock on record. Interstellar, which means it came to us from outside the solar system. And the sheer force of a collision with this rock would carve a crater the size of a city, vaporizing everything in its vicinity. But as far as interstellar rocks go, Oumuamua is not the worst. Meet Comet 3I Atlas. While Oumuamua is big, 3I Atlas might be 14 times bigger, which means 14 times the impact, 14 times the crater, 14 times the vaporization, or more. We'll get into the physics of it later. A collision with this rock would release the same kind of energy that a certain other asteroid did 66 million years ago, ending the reign of the dinosaurs and killing nearly everything on Earth. This means that if 3I Atlas struck Earth today, we're talking an extinction level event. Now, to better understand 3I Atlas, let's take another look at Oumuamua. Like I said, Oumuamua was the first object we've ever confirmed to be visiting us from outside of our solar system. Roughly translated from Hawaiian, Oumuamua means a messenger from afar arriving first, which is quite fitting because it's literally from afar arriving first, at least to us Earthlings. And while scientists have theorized about the existence of interstellar visitors for decades, Oumuamua is undeniably from another star system. How do we know? Because it was moving way too fast to be local. You know, like when you live on a street with young kids and some maniac comes driving too fast and blows the stop sign. Plus, it looked weird. Most of the local comets and asteroids in our solar system move about 20 kilometers a second. That's 12 miles a second. That's incredibly fast, but Oumuamua is moving so much faster. When it left the solar system, it moved at 87 kilometers per second, 54 miles per second. Don't worry, it won't actually hit Earth. Ever. Scientists ran the numbers and realized that Oumuamua is not moving into our neighborhood. It came from deep space, cut through our solar system, and it's returning to deep space, which is fine by me because it drives like a maniac. Scientists have named it 1I 2017 U1, giving the object a whole new classification. The number 1 means it's first, and the I stands for interstellar. And though we suspect that there's always one of these objects somewhere in the solar system, we don't find them very often. The potential planet buster 3I Atlas was only discovered in 2025, meaning that's right, it's just the third interstellar object we've ever discovered in the solar system. But what's weird about Oumuamua, besides the fact that it originated from deep space, is that it's shaped like a cigar. People keep saying cigar, but it could also look like a cucumber, a hot dog, a Tootsie Roll, or a belly buster turkey and bacon submarine sandwich. I clearly need to eat lunch. Now, whatever your flavor, we just don't have these long, cylindrical shaped objects flying around our planetary neighborhood. The asteroids and comets in our solar system, usually potato shaped, but Oumuamua is 10 times longer than it is wide, and it spins around on multiple axes, which has led to all kinds of speculation and excitement. Some scientists theorize that it may have been made by aliens. Maybe it was a probe or an alien-made ship, like an alien scout on a mission to seek out other life forms. Part of that speculation was driven by Oumuamua's inexplicable acceleration. Yeah, it was moving faster than it should have been. Those same scientists initially suggested it may have been due to an alien light sail, or solar sail, a type of spaceship drive that relies on the force of star radiation. Spaceships with solar sails aren't science fiction. Though they're rare, humans have successfully launched solar sail-powered spacecraft too. Still, most scientists don't agree with the idea that our first verified interstellar visitor is, an alien probe. They studied the interstellar Voyager and concluded that Oumuamua is more likely just a comet that doesn't play by our solar system's usual rules, in that it's never shown one of those famous comet tails. But it's a comet all the same. This means that its extra acceleration is likely due to some kind of hydrogen outgassing. Since it was discovered near Jupiter's orbit, Oumuamua has already shot by Saturn and Neptune and is now headed for the constellation Pegasus. It's been traveling through space for hundreds of millions of years, and it'll be hurtling through the expanse for another 100 million years or more. But that's nothing compared to how long 3I Atlas may have been around. There's a good chance that, as weird and mysterious as Oumuamua was, 3I Atlas could be even more intriguing. First off, 3I Atlas is from a very different part of space than Oumuamua. It looks like 3I Atlas originated in the Milky Way's thick disk of stars, which means there's a high chance that 3I Atlas is older than our solar system, and quite possibly billions of years older, born in a region of primeval stars, formed in an ultra-violent era of the galaxy's past. While every object in our solar system is a maximum age of 4.5 billion years, Atlas could easily be 7 billion years old, or more. This may be the oldest object we've ever observed in our solar system. It also means that this space rock has a completely different makeup than any other object we've ever witnessed. For example, scientists think there are high levels of nickel and iron in the gases surrounding the comet, which researchers say is extremely puzzling. I mean, all I know is it's metal, which won't be good news when it plows into Earth at 61 kilometers a second. But hold on, we'll get to the impact in a minute. 3I Atlas also has water and carbon dioxide ice blasting out of it. So unlike Oumuamua, it has that typical coma, the envelope of gas and dust, and the tail associated with most comets. The Hubble Space Telescope picked up a shot of Atlas in July of 2025, showing off that characteristic halo of dust surrounding the comet's icy nucleus. The closer it gets to our Sun, the more distinct and explosive the coma and tail will get. And it's going to get close to the Sun. The good news is it's not going to hit the Earth. At its closest point in December of 2025, 3I Atlas will still be 1.8 astronomical units from our pale blue dot. That's still 270 million kilometers, 170 million miles off base. But on an astronomical scale, it's not that far off. Atlas is still going to pass within Mars's orbit and miss it by just 28 million kilometers, 18 million miles. That's less than a quarter of the distance from Earth to Mars. Now, because this comet is still pretty far, scientists are still working to nail down the exact size of it. NASA determined that it's a minimum of 440 meters in diameter, 1,444 feet, and a maximum of 5.6 kilometers in diameter, 3.5 miles. Of course, here on What If, we like to make things big, so for dramatic purposes, let's theorize to the max. 3I Atlas being 5.6 kilometers wide when it hits us. And for our purposes, we're also going to ignore the widely ignored but titillating hypothesis that 3I Atlas is, an alien probe. If you follow interstellar objects, not follow interstellar objects, but, read about interstellar objects, well, you may have come across articles from the same group that proposed that Oumuamua was an alien object. Of course, they're also theorizing that 3I Atlas is an alien spacecraft or a technological artifact. We at What If think about aliens a lot too, but this isn't a mothership module. 3I Atlas is just a really big, ancient comet swinging through our solar system at an incredible speed. And now, to the part of the story you've been waiting on. The impact. Let's say 3I Atlas's angle of approach was slightly different as it entered our solar system. And what if we discovered it too late and it arrived on our celestial doorstep before we could figure out how to nuke something in orbit or enlist Bruce Willis to blow it up? Total mayhem, right? So what if 3I Atlas struck Earth instead of passing by harmlessly? Well, to answer this, we have to go back to the planet buster, Chicxulub. This iconic asteroid struck Earth 66 million years ago. It devastated the planet and completely changed the history of life on Earth. So, spoiler alert, if 3I Atlas hit us, it would not be pretty. Now, 3I Atlas is a massive comet, but it's only about half the size of the 10-kilometer wide Chicxulub. Chicxulub was mostly a carbonaceous asteroid made up of a mix of rock, minerals, metals, and some carbon compounds. 3I Atlas is mostly made of carbon dioxide ices and metal. So let's say they have similar densities, but there's a concerning difference. 3I Atlas is traveling way faster. Chicxulub was moving at about 20 kilometers per second when it hit us. Like I said earlier, 3I Atlas is moving at 61 kilometers per second at its slowest, and it would speed up as it approached the sun. That kind of velocity would be a huge problem for Earth, because the faster an asteroid moves, the deadlier the impact. So even though 3I Atlas is smaller and lighter than Chicxulub, because of its speed, it had hit Earth with 4.5 times the energy of Chicxulub, and it would do way more damage. 3 simple words, say them with me now. Extinction level event. When Chicxulub hit Earth 66 million years ago, it carved a crater 100 kilometers wide, that's 62 miles wide, and 30 kilometers deep. The blast radius incinerated everything within 1,500 kilometers, causing extremely high tsunamis across the planet and ended 70% of the flora and fauna on Earth. 3I Atlas would hit harder. Yeah, it would punch right through the atmosphere, then slam into Earth's crust in just over 1 second. A superheated core of plasma would cremate everything near the point of impact. A 3I Atlas strike would produce a shockwave thousands of kilometers across whatever ocean or continent it struck. If it struck near a landmass like Chicxulub did, it would create super hurricane-level winds, talking speeds of 1,000 kilometers per hour. These are hurricanes that would destroy forests and cities, and the blast would launch trillions of tons of molten material into the atmosphere. It would burn every tree on the continent and set every forest on the planet on fire. Then cue the tsunamis. High waves would flood the continents, moving 100 kilometers inland. Rubble would fall from the sky, and land would slide into the sea. Everything on the side of the planet that was struck would be toast. After that, the impact would cause worldwide earthquakes that register beyond the Richter scale, volcanic eruptions, and even more tsunamis. And then, after the fires burned out, things would get real quiet, but not in a good way. The immediate effects of the 3I Atlas impact would be devastating, but the real planet killer effects are the long-term consequences. When an asteroid or a comet of that size blasts that much magma, water vapor, silt, and dirt into the atmosphere, it blocks the sunlight. For years, maybe even decades, the sky would go dark, it would get cold, nuclear winter cold, photosynthesis would stop, plants would die, and everything that fed on plants would be gone too. All the debris in the atmosphere would rain down on the Earth as extreme acid rain. Any terrestrial or freshwater vegetation that wasn't already burnt, frozen, or dying from lack of sunlight would fry under this rain. That would add to the collapse of the food chain. So unless you had a real deep bunker loaded with cases of canned beans, you and every animal that survived the initial disaster starved to death. The planet would also face the destruction of the ozone layer and even toxic metal poisoning from all the material raining back down on it. Now, once that all settled, after a few years, things might actually start to get hot. That's because since Atlas is made of carbon dioxide ice, all that ice would vaporize when the comet hit the ground. But Earth wouldn't heat up right away. Only much later, when the skies finally clear, would the leftover carbon dioxide start trapping heat and push the climate back in the other direction. So first a deep freeze, then a long, scorching recovery. Not that you'd be able to witness any of it, because you wouldn't be alive. In short, if 3I Atlas struck Earth, it would be a global mass extinction. Enormous loss of life, species, entire countries, and continents. I mean, would probably be a good time to be on the International Space Station, though getting back home might be a problem after all the Armageddon. Now, the good news is, like I said, 3I Atlas isn't actually going to come anywhere near us. But it's a little sad because studying this older than the solar system comet up close would be huge. Telescopes on Earth don't have a great angle on it against the sun to be able to study it from a distance. So, you shouldn't look at this comet as a harbinger of doom, but rather an opportunity to look back through time and space before the solar system, our sun, and Earth were even born. Scientists might have discovered life outside the solar system. Welcome to planet K2-18b. This exoplanet is 124 light years away from us, and it has the most promising evidence for life we've ever found.
Hey Chaseheads, it's your boy Chase here on a mission to find the most precious thing in the universe. Aliens. Finally, I'll have someone to talk to around here other than Rico.
Correction. You have not initiated a meaningful conversation in 172 days, 3 hours, and 9 minutes. Statistical degradation of your social skills is within the expected parameters.
Okay. Ow. Rude.
K2-18b is 2.5 times bigger and 8.5 times more massive than Earth. And it orbits an M-type dwarf star, which is cooler and redder than our sun. Scientists don't know for sure whether this world is a super Earth or a mini Neptune, so we're sending our brave team member Chase to find out. It's possible this exoplanet has internal heat under all that dense atmosphere, which could mean that it's packed with volcanoes. It could even be covered with a massive ocean. 124 light years is pretty far, and of course we don't have the technology to get there yet, but we do know something intriguing about this big alien rock. Scientists have found that K2-18b has dimethyl sulfide and dimethyl disulfide in its atmosphere, and that means it could be teeming with life. And if we can find life here, that would mean that alien life could exist on other planets too.
Yeah, but humans would likely never find any of it. I mean, exoplanets are like super far away. You'd die of old age long before you ever saw anything cool in space.
He's not wrong. The fastest human-made spacecraft we've ever created is the Parker Solar Probe. This little craft was designed to fly close to the sun, and when it did, it reached a speed of 692,000 kilometers per hour. If you could travel that fast, it would still take you 193,399 years to reach this alien destination. Give or take a month, and depending on traffic.
So the science is pretty clear that K2-18b is gonna be pretty amazing. Volcanoes, alien life, beaches, it's gonna be pretty cool.
The science is getting clearer, but we're still just making intelligent guesses of what K2-18b could be like.
Guessing, amazing.
To explore these planets from such a long distance, we use devices like the James Webb Space Telescope. Space telescopes are a lot more accurate since they don't have to look through the smudged lens of Earth's atmosphere. The James Webb Space Telescope sits about 1.5 million kilometers from Earth, and from there, it has a clear view out into the universe.
Hey, I'm right here, and the view is pretty clear, baby.
Yeah, sure. Okay, even though these alien worlds we keep discovering are far away, we still have a way of learning a little bit about them. Like, how do we know there's dimethyl sulfide in K218b's atmosphere? 2 words: transmission spectroscopy. Here's how it works. When a planet like K218b passes between Earth and its own star, it blocks some of its star's light. Then, astronomers use powerful telescopes like James Webb to observe the starlight that has passed through the thin layer around the edge of the planet. It helps that different gases in the atmosphere absorb specific wavelengths of light, because scientists can measure exactly which colors get absorbed, and from there, they can identify which gases are present in a planet's atmosphere, even though it's incredibly far away. We can even tell how much of a particular gas there is, the atmospheric density, and the temperature of the atmosphere.
Guys, I'm here about to dive into this beautiful planet, K2080 whatever, and be the first astronaut ever to encounter real alien life. I'm also planning a vacation because, firstly, I deserve it, and B, treat yourself, and 4, this planet is the perfect spot, and I mean perfect, because it's like Hawaii, but with aliens. Stay tuned for more. Okay, so how do I dress for this planet? I am hoping for cargo shorts weather, but,
Well, you're in luck, because as far as astronomers can tell, K218b is pretty balmy. Its surface temperature is close to Earth's average temperature. It's warmer in some areas and cooler in others. This might just be the perfect destination that we've been searching for.
Okay, I'm signing up for warmer areas, and I'm gonna go with pants. Now, what kind of pants does somebody wear to meet aliens for the first time? Something formal. Yeah, cargo pants.
Unable to locate cargo pants.
Well, pants or not, this is gonna be sick. Aliens, finally something exciting. Oh man, I see the planet, I land on the planet. Rico, do the thing. Initiate landing sequence.
I wouldn't recommend that. You see, K218b isn't the only planet in the neighborhood. It shares its red M-type star with a much bigger sister planet, K218c. That's the one you're looking at right now. K218c is 7.5 times the size of Earth, but bigger doesn't always mean better. At that size, it's closer to Neptune with one of those unwelcoming hydrogen and helium atmospheres. K218c is unlikely to host any known life forms.
Initiate those stabilizers! It'll... Yeah, I died on Neptune pretty grossly, so yeah, it's gonna be a hard pass for me on the C planet. Today, I'm taking a me day on K2280... whatever. The B planet! Okay, so little update here. Turns out I was at the wrong planet. Whoopsies. Almost landed on a mini Neptune, and I don't want to go to Neptune anymore. Yuck. So yeah, that was a close one. Luckily, I realized that in time, and now I'm on my way to this beautiful, correct planet.
K218b is 2.5 times the size of Earth, which makes it a super-Earth. Super-Earths are planets at least 1.5 times larger than our blue rock. Some of these lower-density super-Earths could have atmospheres made up largely of hydrogen and helium. You might sound funny on them, but they're not good for life. But super-Earths with a higher density, exactly like K218b over here, could be rocky worlds with shallow oceans.
Just the paradise this guy needs. Rico, initiate landing sequence, preferably someplace poolside.
I have identified a series of volcanic islands.
Yeah, I see them, genius. Alright, finally some R&R and a suntan.
Danger. Unstable ground. Landing not recommended.
No. I did not just almost land on the wrong planet to turn back now, Rico. Initiate landing sequence!
Initiating landing sequence.
Rico, we have an autopilot for a reason. Next time, just use that. Oh my god, that was the worst landing. And I've piloted this thing before. Rico, give me a temperature reading. It feels nice.
Temperature reading 16.15 degrees Celsius.
Okay, now do a better job analyzing the atmosphere than you did landing. Okay, Rico?
Analyzing. Detecting nitrogen, methane, carbon dioxide, with traces of dimethyl sulfide.
And oxygen?
No oxygen detected. Keep the spacesuit on.
Wow, it's gonna be real hard getting a suntan with a spacesuit on, but whatever. Senior Buzzkill. I guess I'll leave it on for safety.
Even if there was oxygen, the surface pressure here is 3 times higher than on Earth. You'd need to keep your helmet on at all times. That's because the sudden increase in pressure could make your ears and sinuses implode, and your lungs would collapse violently. You'd be in excruciating pain, gasping for breath, with your vision blurring from burst blood vessels around your eyes.
No. Didn't you get the memo, Peter? I am not dying on this one. No more Mr. Die Guy.
Even with your spacesuit off, the thick clouds would prevent the sun tanning process.
Well, thanks for the tanning tip, buddy. So this has been nice. Not too cold, not too hot. Rico didn't let me suntan earlier, which is a bummer, so I will remain the pale space adventurer that you all know and love. One day I will find my Ryza, that planet for the perfect vacation. But today is not that day. Still, good news is that I am looking for aliens, and there is a good chance that I'll find some, so keep watching, friends. Ooh, this gravity's really gonna cramp my layups.
Gravity reading 1.3 times Earth's gravity. It is not substantial enough to result in such poor performance.
I am not out of shape. Okay, those late night Moonburger orders, they mean nothing. Oh God, Rico, where's a chair? I need a chair. So, aliens. How come there's none around, you know? I feel like I've been looking for these guys for like, ever, you know? And I've only found Charlie, and I'm still not entirely convinced that was real or my imagination. Brain does weird things when you're dying of oxygen deprivation.
Why are aliens so impossible to find? Great question.
Please don't say 2
And
words.
I have 2 words for you.
And there it is.
Fermi paradox. You see, with all the billions and billions of planets out there, you think we would have encountered aliens by now. Scientists have been looking for signs of intelligent life in the universe forever, and we haven't detected anything yet. One physicist in the 1950s had a theory.
Oh, let me guess. It's called the Fermi paradox because Fermi was the dude's name, and it's called a paradox because it doesn't make any sense?
Sure.
No, don't sure me. Okay, I am the lifeblood
Blood of this channel.
So far, Trying to answer the Fermi paradox has created a lot of speculation as to why we haven't found signs of life anywhere in the universe yet. Maybe intelligent life is out there, but cosmic distances and timescales are so huge that we've just missed each other. We've only been looking seriously for alien life with radio telescopes for just over 60 years. And what's that compared to the age of the universe?
Yeah, I can relate. I lost a sock on this ship once. It's not that big a ship, and I only looked for like a minute.
Another possible answer is that the aliens just don't want us to find them. Maybe they're scared of us, or maybe they just want to sit back and observe us.
Yeah, it's like we're gorillas in a zoo, and aliens are just waiting to see if we'll beat each other with sticks or something.
Some scientists have even wondered if advanced technology might be a kind of ticking time bomb that eventually blows up in a civilization's face. This idea is part of what's called the Great Filter Theory. Basically, once a species becomes powerful enough to build rockets and explore space, it might also accidentally create the tools of its own destruction. Think nuclear war, unstoppable artificial intelligence, engineered pandemics, or catastrophic environmental collapse. This could explain why we haven't run into any space-traveling aliens yet. They might have wiped themselves out in some apocalyptic event before ever leaving their home planet. So, what kind of alien life forms do you expect?
I don't know, something like cool and chill, you know, like non-life-threatening at all kind of aliens. You know, I don't get it. K2265F is supposed to be this planet with all this life teeming everywhere. Where is it? I don't see any. I don't see any life around here. You know, this seems like a load of bull spit to me.
K218b could host life. Doesn't mean it does. Scientists use the concept of biosignatures to determine if a planet could support life. The idea is that if chemicals associated with life on Earth are detected on another planet, well, then that means those chemicals might come from life on that planet. The big one is always oxygen.
Okay, wait. First you say that the transit spectroscopy has detected no oxygen. Then you say oxygen is life. Well, which is it, Peter? Why am I even here? Where's the life? And is it Laurel or Yanny? Somebody tell me!
Don't get discouraged. There could still be alien life here.
Sure.
Don't sure me. Because not all life is associated with oxygen. There are two other important chemicals here: dimethyl sulfide and dimethyl disulfide. On Earth, they're produced by marine phytoplankton and bacteria, and the concentrations of these gases on K218b are much higher than on Earth. K218b could be teeming with life. You just can't see it with your naked eye.
Marine phytoplankton, eh? So, aliens in the pool, but not aliens poolside. Not the kind of life I was particularly hoping to find, but, you know, give them a few billion years. Don't rush them. Maybe they'll develop. Okay, here's a quick update, Chaseheads. So far, no aliens. I know, bummer. But there could be these, like, tiny little aliens, sea monkey type people here, you know? If they are here, I can't see them, but I will find them because I have a particular set of skills. Let's see what we've got here. Hello, phytoplankton. Can you hear me? Whoa, okay, hey, this is not the vibe.
Did I mention that K218b has active plate tectonics? Because it has such a high mass, this alien rock likely retains a lot of internal heat. That can cause earthquakes and volcanic eruptions.
Yeah, I see a volcano right in front of me. Thanks, Peter. And also, shouldn't these really be called like K22F42 quakes or whatever? Ugh. Oh. Why did we land beside a volcano?
I did warn you.
Okay, kids, vacation's over. Oh, that was close. Okay, this is not looking good. I did not see any aliens, and I am now experiencing a quake. And, well, a volcano is erupting right behind me. That's kind of cool. Still positive I can make it to the ship, though. I'm gonna keep running. Check you chase heads later. Rico, take off!
Looks like Chase got away this time.
Okay, I didn't find any aliens to talk to, and, well, I didn't get a tan. Or any rest. But I didn't die this time, so that should count for something, right? Hope this vlog wasn't like a complete disappointment to you guys. The view, that was nice, right? So there's that. Okay, the main thing is, I survived, baby! Chase doesn't die in space! How about that, Richard? I survived! K2-18B! Rico, you know what time it is!
Would you like me to launch congratulatory sequence?
Please do, baby! Peter, any comment?
Well, I guess I was wrong.
That's another first, baby! Peter admits he's an idiot! This is the best day ever! Pure, clean, recycled air.
Warning. Contamination detected.
What? What? Contamination? Contamination? I always wipe my boots according to 54-B, whatever it says in the training manual.
Contamination.
Oh, okay, I might have skipped it this one time.
Well, that was a big mistake. Let me pause Chase for a second and tell you about the moon landing. Back in the 1960s, when humans went to the moon for the first time, protocol required them to quarantine for 21 days after their return home. Yeah, astronauts spent 3 weeks isolated in NASA's mobile quarantine facility, just to ensure that no dangerous moon microbes could sneak back home. And that was the moon, dry, airless, and relentlessly bombarded by radiation. K2-18b has so much more potential to host life. You need to take decontamination seriously.
Maybe we haven't found aliens because they're so small we can't even see them. I think I might be breathing little tiny aliens right now. Hey, did that Fermi guy ever think of this?
I think you might have solved the Fermi paradox. When scientists look for signs of life in the universe, they don't really look for walking, talking aliens that we can hang out with. They focus on finding exoplanets like K2-18b where simple life forms could flourish.
Hey, cheeseheads. Looks like me die horribly again. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Looks like Chase has managed to find alien life. Only now, it's eating his brain.
Oh, man. This hurt. This hurt a lot. This is not fun. My eyeballs are dissolving. No bueno. Hey, this alien talking to me. Hey, you know where the sock is? Yeah? Where the socks at? Where the socks?
Yeah, Chase isn't really talking to the aliens. He has a fatal brain fever from inhaling space bacteria, and he's hallucinating. But don't worry, Chase will be back. He always comes back.
Are we alone in the universe?
With more than 100 billion galaxies in the observable universe, and at least 500 billion planets in the Milky Way alone, don't you think we should have found something by now? Even if a tiny percentage of those billions of planets hosted intelligent life, there would be tens of thousands of extraterrestrial civilizations out there. Yet, we haven't seen any. Where is everybody? We keep wondering what's taking them so long to come. But what if I told you that even the friendliest of all aliens could wipe out our entire civilization for good? This is What If, and here's what would happen if aliens visited us tomorrow. We tend to apply our theories to the rest of the universe. We expect aliens to come for a visit, even though we ourselves haven't traveled out of our own neighborhood yet. We just believe that they've had so much more time for technological progress to make space travel possible. So here they are, with their shiny alien spaceship roving above our heads. What would we do? As far as we know, no government on this planet has any sort of alien greeting party planned if aliens suddenly showed up on the horizon. Just try to keep cool. Say the aliens happen to be very polite and sent us a signal before invading our planet's personal space. Well, you wouldn't know it right away. Not until several observatories maintained by different organizations verified that signal. Yep, that's it. Aliens are here, now you know. You got this shocking news from your TV.
NASA officially confirms
An alien ship detected in the solar system, not alone in the universe.
Agencies and countries around the world would be working together, quickly trying to assess the level of threat. They'd summon experts in linguistics, psychology, combat, and biology, and have them attempt to make first contact with the aliens. Groups of experts would record all interactions to analyze simple alien gestures and auditory reactions. Those would help to decide whether aliens came in peace or they intend to do some serious damage. Some people might believe that religious leaders should do all the talking. Something's telling me that aliens didn't learn our languages in school, so good luck to anyone trying to reach out to them. While the world's most intelligent people were busy trying to interpret the aliens' intentions to the best of their ability, you would be, wait, aren't you curious to know what the aliens look like? Some evolution experts agree that things like proteins and DNA are the same no matter where in the universe you're from. If that's true, alien evolution would be close to that of humans. They'd have binocular vision with eyes located close to the brain. Just like us, they'd be based on land and have a minimum of 2 legs for mobility and 3 fingers so that they could handle tools. Still, if some of our own life forms look like this, try to picture something coming from another planet. Meanwhile, on Earth, while governments were busy figuring out the action plan, the media would be keeping you informed. You'd be advised to stay indoors and wait for further instructions. It'd be hard to filter out what's legitimate news and what isn't, but try not to fall for fake end-of-the-world news on Facebook and keep calm. At least make an effort to give up the urge to pack up your belongings and head for the hills. At the same time, the governments and scientific experts would be sharing information about alien interactions. From here, the events could unfold in a few different ways. First, we may not get any auditory or visual response. Nothing at all. This could mean anything from the alien spacecraft doesn't have any aliens on board to the aliens are waiting for their alien backup to fry us up. Another possibility is that aliens responded and tried to communicate with no weapons involved. I can't speak to their possible intentions. For all we know, they may want to get rid of us and keep the Earth to themselves. Thanks to the language barrier, our interactions might not be going well. Tensions would begin to rise. We'd be screwed. Considering that these beings had the technology to travel to Earth, it's likely that they also had the capability to develop some very, very advanced weaponry. Civilians would most likely be hitting the panic button as hard as possible. Meanwhile, governments would put their nuclear weapons on standby. That would be our best and most destructive weapon against them. Or so we think. It may turn out that the aliens have adverse reactions to things on Earth that we're all accustomed to. If, say, their skin melted upon contact with water, then defending ourselves against them would be simple. I'm not saying aliens would necessarily bring doom upon the Earth. They may not mean us any harm at all. But if some hazardous microorganisms from outer space hitched a ride with them and made it into our world, we humans might have no natural immunity to those extraterrestrial microbes, and they could slowly wipe our species off the planet. On the other hand, if aliens weren't coming here to make friends, we'd be destroyed long before we got a chance to offer peace between intelligent beings. In any case, we aren't ready for a visit from interplanetary travelers. We'd better get prepared for first contact.
What if the moon was more than just a lifeless rock? Under that bright light, it could be hiding an alien civilization. When did this alien life begin on the moon? What would these lunar dwellers breathe? And what would our neighbors look like? This is What If? And here's what would happen if aliens lived on the moon. Until Galileo showed up on the scene with his telescope, all we knew about the moon was that it was bright and shiny. While we certainly know more now, its origins are still a mystery. Yeah, we still don't know how the moon became, well, the moon. Some scientists think a chunk of the Earth broke off about 4.5 billion years ago after a violent collision with another planet. All the debris eventually came together to form this body. And the moon landing in 1969 did more than inspire humanity to reach the stars. It made this rock something real to humans everywhere. But we didn't stay for long, so what if the astronauts missed something big up there? The lunar surface is a rough place to live. Without an atmosphere, there's no protection from the sun's radiation, or even a way to keep oxygen on the ground. But maybe it wasn't always like this. After that piece of Earth broke off, microscopic life like cyanobacteria could have survived in this harsh environment. We call this the panspermia theory, the idea that life can be transferred by meteoroids, asteroids, or even spaceships. Considering the moon orbits us in the habitable zone, there could have been a time billions of years ago when it had fresh water. And volcanic activity could have released the gases needed to sustain life. So why isn't there life there now? Well, who's to say there isn't? When these conditions existed, the moon could have incubated life for hundreds of millions of years before humans existed. While dinosaurs roamed our planet, the moon could have been teeming with life that would look stranger than some of those behemoths. The moon's magnetic field is a fraction as powerful as the Earth's, so over millions of years, solar winds stripped away all of its atmosphere. With nothing to protect it, life on the surface would have to adapt to survive the sun's intense rays. On Earth, melanin in our skin protects us from ultraviolet rays, but instead of having a darker skin tone, the moon aliens could have developed new colors. Carotenoids are organic pigments found in vegetables like carrots, and they contain cells that protect against skin cancer. If the aliens evolved to have carotenoids instead of melanin, they might have tough orange skin that would resist the dangerous UV rays around them. And the differences don't end there. Since the moon's gravity is only 1/6 of that on Earth, these aliens could get around by jumping or gliding. But without an atmosphere holding oxygen on the surface, what would these creatures breathe? Well, even with an atmosphere that's only 1/100th as thick as ours, that doesn't mean that life can't exist. Recently, scientists have found a parasite that doesn't need oxygen to live. Maybe over millions of years, these aliens could have evolved in the same way, without breathing, well, anything. Now, while this diversity of life might exist on the surface, you couldn't say the same for the lunar oceans. I mean, if they existed. While the average ocean on Earth goes down 3.7 kilometers, the moon's seas would only have a depth of 1 kilometer. There's not much that could be found in these waters. But if life did exist on the moon, how would that have changed our history? Well, if these aliens had evolved before humanity, they might have visited us before we landed on the moon. And if they had waited until after the space race, the increasing tensions of the Cold War might never have happened. Instead, humans could have united in fear over an invasion from a superior life form. The militaries around the globe would have deployed countermeasures to assess the threats these visitors pose. And as scientists and politicians tried to communicate with our celestial neighbors, everyone else would be hunkered down, bracing for the worst. You know, sharing our corner of the solar system with a much more advanced civilization might be overwhelming, but it's either that or an all-out war. And considering how much more evolved these aliens are, we might want to think of a peaceful solution.
But before we get to that, do you want more What If? Well, then you should check out the What If Explorers Club over on Patreon. For just a couple bucks a month, you can get access to exclusive videos, ad-free episodes, and behind-the-scenes content, and more. We also have a private Discord where you can pitch your What If ideas. So if you want more content like this, and you want to give your support so we can keep making the best content possible, then become an explorer today.
Is intelligent life out there in the universe? Well, with scientists discovering new exoplanets every year, yeah, the possibility only grows stronger. Will we discover alien life in the future? Or will they discover us? In this episode, we take a look at the multiple possibilities that could happen if aliens are out there, from what they might look like to the incredible technology they might control. Let's start with a scenario where aliens come to invade our home. Day 1. The aliens have officially invaded Earth, and they're not here to make friends. Many scientists theorize that if alien life showed up on Earth, it'd be because they want something from us. Space travel, as we know it, is incredibly expensive and time-consuming, so if an alien race traveled to planet Earth, they wouldn't be doing it to shake hands and have a chat over coffee. They'd probably be here to mine precious resources that they don't have in their galaxy. Or they might be coming to perform experiments on us and learn more about the human race. On a cultural level, the discovery of alien life could change everything. Humans would question what they know about religion, culture, and philosophy. The good news is that one of humanity's biggest questions would finally be answered. Yes, aliens are real. But what happens when they invade us?
Well, we're not sure totally what their intentions are just yet. This is only day one. Over the course of this video, we'll keep checking in and seeing where this alien invasion could go. But before we get to our full-on alien invasion, what would these extraterrestrials look like? Well, there are a ton of different theories, from simple microorganisms to intelligent life that could take over entire galaxies. In this scenario, we have a couple of options scientists have theorized we might possibly discover one day. Let's explore, starting with the simple and getting increasingly weird. This is Subject 004, and it looks oddly familiar. This is bacteria found on Earth. Wait, what? I thought we were talking about aliens. Well, some scientists theorize that life found on Earth might be extraterrestrial. Earth was hit with thousands of meteors 4 billion years ago, and attached to these meteors may have been tiny bits of bacteria that were the building blocks for the life we have on Earth. Next is Subject 021. This alien looks a lot like us for some reason. Boring, yeah, I know, but some scientists think it could exist. We're discovering more and more exoplanets similar to Earth every year, and the only intelligent life that we're confident that exists in the universe is us. So if you have a planet that's similar to Earth with similar conditions, well, it makes sense that life on that exoplanet could have evolved similar to humans. But aliens might not be organic at all. What if aliens are artificial intelligence? Introducing Subject 042. This is an extraterrestrial being that happens to be a highly intelligent robot. Hey, what do advanced societies, space colonies, and interstellar travel all have in common, other than them all being featured in sci-fi movies? Well, they all take highly intelligent minds and a ton of hard work to pull off. And what better way to accomplish this than to put a bunch of hard-working, highly intelligent robots on it? Ones that never get tired and keep learning at an advanced rate. Artificially intelligent aliens are a possibility for a few reasons. First, they wouldn't be limited to the pesky limitations that we organic life forms might have. AI wouldn't have to worry about oxygen, food, sleeping, or anything else that might get in the way of building a galactic empire. They also wouldn't need to worry about building on a planet with an atmosphere. They could bypass the need to breathe, as well as any safety concerns. They could expand to planets that we weakling humans might not even dream suitable for life. If the AI doesn't need to worry about things like their planet being in the Goldilocks zone, well, theoretically they could populate any celestial body they want. But this also assumes that the AI would have the same epic desires as humans. Who knows how they would want to spend their time? They may hibernate for billions of years and wait for certain stars to explode. They might just want to keep to themselves and not make a massive impact on the galaxy or interact with other species. Okay, the final alien we're theorizing about is Subject 339. This one looks a little bit more unusual than what we're used to because it's composed of silicone instead of carbon. The checkboxes for life that silicone needs completely differs from what we're used to. On a molecular level, this type of life is much more unstable than carbon, but it can also live at extremely low temperatures and high atmospheric pressures. It could also look quite different from other life forms. These aliens might appear to be rock-like or be crystallized in some form. But regardless of what they look like, they'd be bizarre. Okay, now let's go back to Earth and check in on our alien invasion. Day 30. The aliens have come equipped with several advanced pieces of tech. Using wormhole technology, they've been able to move across the universe in seconds. Earth is now full of floating megastructures, far beyond our current technological capabilities. Over the last 30 days, the aliens have been slowly and methodically taking over parts of the world, attacking our infrastructure, governments, and cities, all in hopes of taking over our planet and mining our resources. Our most powerful militaries have been working together to counterattack the invading aliens, using our most advanced technologies in hopes of fighting them off. Up in the sky, more alien megastructures appear. Massive structures are being assembled that can mine and terraform our planet with ease. Now, before all this happened, scientists have been working for decades in hopes of finding alien life.
let's take a look back to figure out how we got here. There have been hundreds, if not thousands, of fake alien reports and sightings, from people saying UFOs are in their backyard to fake alien corpses being presented as real. One of the most notable events happened in late 2023. Self-described UFO expert Jaime Mawson showed what looked to be 2 alien specimens to the Mexican Congress. The corpses were shriveled up gray bodies with 3 fingers. Mawson claimed they were non-human, but experts quickly debunked these claims. Mawson showed up with spotty evidence, and it was revealed that the specimens were human, but may have been manipulated to look extraterrestrial. Ugh. Another claim of alien life in 2023 was made by a former United States military intelligence officer. He said that the US government was in possession of some sort of UFO and a non-human pilot. However, NASA and government officials have since refuted the claims and said there was no evidence to back it up. Now, we can go back and forth on what's real and what's fake in these claims, but it's safe to say that there's no real and significant evidence that intelligent life is out there. At least not yet. But scientists are working hard to find some. One of the most likely methods of finding alien life is through the James Webb Telescope. Since 2021, this super telescope has been trying to find exoplanets across our galaxy. It has the ability to analyze the composition of the atmospheres on the exoplanets. It looks for things like oxygen, carbon dioxide, and methane, and if it happens to find these, that could be a good sign for potential alien life. Another option is a bit closer to home, in our own solar system. Scientists have been looking at Mars, as well as one of the moons of Jupiter, Europa, in hopes of finding life. This life would most likely appear in microbacterial form. Now, if we want to find more intelligent alien life, we could go the SETI route. The Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence is a group of over 100 scientists who've been searching the universe for decades. They're using AI to scan the cosmos in hopes of finding out what's out there. Since 1960, SETI has been scanning the skies for radio signals that are different from the cosmic background noise. If they find something that isn't naturally occurring, well, it could indicate that it might be from an advanced civilization. But in our invasion scenario, we weren't the ones discovering the aliens. These aliens discovered us. Day 100. In the past 100 days, a full-on alien war has broken out. Militaries and even civilian fighters are battling this alien species, but no matter what we do, it's nearly impossible to stop them. Remember, these extraterrestrials were able to travel from a different galaxy to reach Earth, meaning they're highly intelligent and have some seriously advanced tech. They can terraform or wipe out entire cities with the push of a button. The one advantage humans might have in this case is our sheer number of troops that we could assemble. Since we're on our home turf, we'd have all 8 billion people to help fight back. We'd assume that this alien species likely traveled incredibly far and with less than 8 billion people, so we could beat them when it came to a sheer numbers game. But again, they have technology so advanced that we might not be capable of fighting back at all. Our best bet might be to retreat, go into hiding, and avoid the aliens as much as we can. Okay, we'll check back in on the alien invasion in a minute, but as we've been going through this scenario, I've been wondering, why haven't we found any aliens yet? With billions of stars and habitable planets, it seems that the probability of us finding intelligent life out there should be pretty high. Well, this is where the Fermi paradox comes in. Developed by physicist Enrico Fermi, this paradox is about the idea that there's a high probability of extraterrestrial life out there. Well, then why haven't we found any? The Milky Way alone has billions of stars similar to our sun, each of which could have many habitable planets. There's also billions of galaxies out there that are much older than ours, so if intelligent life, or any life at all, is common in outer space, well, there should be some that are more advanced than ours. In theory, they'd be able to travel across the universe and visit us on Earth. But we've yet to find any concrete proof of alien life existing. So why? Well, one of the leading explanations is called the Great Filter Theory.
This idea proposes a stage in civilization's development that's incredibly difficult for life to overcome. This stage could be several things, from civilizations needing to overcome all-out wars to being able to reach great technological heights. Now, if the civilization does pass this filter, then it could be an interstellar civilization, but the problem is we haven't seen or don't know of any civilization that's managed to pass it yet, leading us to think that there's something in the development of civilizations that prevents them from becoming an interstellar species. This could be war or famine or some sort of catastrophic destruction. Regardless of what it exactly is, it seems civilizations may be unable to cross this threshold, and now that brings us back to our alien invasion scenario. Day 300. What makes this alien species so terrifying is the fact that they've been able to cross the Great Filter. It's possible these aliens would have come from a highly advanced civilization, much older and much more experienced than ours. They've been through all sorts of potential extinction events, but have somehow managed to survive and become more advanced. And now they've been attacking and conquering Earth for nearly a year. Humans have done all they could, but with a society this advanced, it would be nearly impossible to win this fight. The aliens have been building more megastructures and mining more of our resources. Eventually, they'd take all they need from our planet and move on, potentially leaving humanity to live in a barren wasteland. But an alien encounter doesn't always need to end with a full-on invasion. The aliens could potentially be similar to humans. Maybe they're simply looking to explore and find new life forms. Maybe we could be a society that they simply want to observe and watch. And this is where the galactic zoo theory comes in. This theory proposes that extraterrestrials are so advanced that they want nothing to do with us, at least directly. They may see Earth and our solar system as a giant enclosed zoo, one that's full of different species for them to watch and observe. Think of the way we humans might think about ants. They're fun to watch and study in the colonies for short periods of time, but we'd never want to directly interact with them. We look at them as beneath us in terms of intelligence and what they have to offer. So that's how aliens might look at humanity. And knowing what an alien invasion could look like, well, I think I'd prefer it if the aliens sat and watched, as long as they remembered to like and subscribe.
Something is emerging from the Mariana Trench, and it does not belong on this planet. If aliens lived in the deepest place in the ocean, what would they look like? How would they communicate with one another? And what would happen if we dared to contact them? This is What If, and here's what would happen if there were aliens at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. There's a reason why the idea of aliens living at the bottom of the sea keeps popping up in popular culture. Many of us are far more afraid of what lies down there than whatever's looking down at us from up in space. After all, 80% of the ocean is still unmapped and unexplored. We have better maps of the Moon, Mars, and Venus than we do of our seafloor. The most mysterious part of our oceans is the Mariana Trench. Its deepest point, the Challenger Deep, stretches 11 kilometers down. The Mariana Trench is anything but a great vacation spot. No light is able to reach its bottom, and temperatures are just a few degrees above freezing. Not to mention its crushingly high water pressure. So, how could aliens survive the deepest spot in the ocean? The water pressure at the bottom of the Mariana Trench is over 1,000 times the atmospheric pressure that you're used to at sea level. This kind of pressure would crush anything, even the toughest deep-sea robots we've ever built. But some living things managed to adapt and thrive under such pressing conditions.
like translucent snailfish and sea cucumbers. The hydal snailfish, known as the deepest living fish, flourishes at depths of over 8 kilometers. Unlike you, deep sea fish don't have pockets to store air in their bodies. That oxygen inside your lungs is what gives you the feeling of pressure whenever you take a dive. No air means this fish has a higher tolerance to the weight of all that water above it. Whatever aliens were lurking down below would share the same characteristic. Storing air just wouldn't be their thing. But what would they do for food? Well, it's likely they'd imitate their seafloor neighbors once again. Deep sea creatures gorge on the decaying remains of microbes, algae, or animals from above. Our sunken ships might be their version of a surprise buffet. Any extraterrestrial life down at the pit of the trench would probably eat similar food. They'd burrow into the biggest carcasses they could find and consume what's left from the inside out, like a giant hagfish does. Or they might possess enormous mouths and expandable stomachs, allowing them to catch and digest large quantities of food as they move. And those big mouths of theirs would also be filled with long fangs pointed inward. This would enable them to catch and hold on to other deep-sea creatures or, any other prey that just so happens to dive a little too far from the surface. Hey, don't judge them. In a habitat as precarious as the Mariana Trench, aliens would need to capitalize on any and all sources of nutrition. They'd also have to go the extra mile in order to let one another know that they're out there in the pitch dark. That's because sunlight can only travel up to 1 kilometer into the ocean. Anywhere deeper than that, and you wouldn't be able to see a thing. So, how would our underwater aliens put the notice out that they're around? Well, 2 ideas: by sound and by light they produce themselves. Like fireflies, deep-sea creatures are able to produce and emit their own light, thanks to a process called bioluminescence. With it, aliens would be able to connect with each other through specific lighting patterns. For long-distance communication, they could send out sound waves across enormous distances in the water, like the humpback whale, who's able to sing in the Caribbean and be heard off the west coast of Ireland, 6,400 kilometers away. Now, what would first contact with this underwater species look like for us? Well, we'd have to get there first. We'd need a vessel strong enough to withstand the constantly intensifying pressure. The tiniest of cracks would squash you and your submarine faster than you can say human jam. Once down there, we'd have to take into account that living at the bottom of the sea would be like living on another planet. If aliens existed in the otherworldly depths of the Mariana Trench this entire time, they may not want to be friendly neighbors. And the darkness alone would make it difficult to locate and study our subjects. Before approaching these extraterrestrials, we'd have to assess their communication style first, slowly and patiently. We'd need to understand how they interact with their environment, too. That is, assuming they don't feel threatened by our presence and decide to do something about it. Trust goes both ways when you're trying not to be crushed or eaten in the name of science. Thousands of light years from Earth, there could be another planet hospitable to life. Kepler 69c. And you're about to travel to this alien world to see that life with your own eyes. What would it be like to make this epic journey so far across the universe? What kind of planet would you be likely to find upon arrival? And if you did discover life, what would it look like? This is What If, and here's what would happen if there's life on Kepler 69c. Located 2,383 light-years from Earth in the Cygnus constellation is a potential super-Earth. At least that's what it's often referred to as. Kepler 69c is an exoplanet about 1.7 times larger than our planet. And it could also be around 3.5 times more massive. But there's a catch. We don't really know if this planet is located within the habitable zone of its star. If it's too close, Kepler 69c would be too hot for liquid water to exist on its surface. If it's too far from its sun, well, then it would be nothing more than a frigid world. What we do know is that Kepler 69c orbits its star about 40% closer than Earth orbits the sun. And that could mean that it isn't actually a super Earth. It could be a super Venus. So, if you traveled all the way here, would you find life? Or a thick, scorching atmosphere boiling every drop of water on the planet? Before you begin your journey to Kepler 69c, there'd be one very important thing to keep in mind. It's far away, almost 600 times further away than Proxima Centauri, our closest neighboring star. Even if you could travel, say, 1% of the speed of light, you wouldn't get there anytime soon. At this speed, you could whip around Earth in just over 13 seconds, but to get to Kepler 69c, well, that would take you about 238,000 years. To even make this trip possible, you'd need a super advanced hibernation pod. You know, you don't want to grow too old and die before you could even get to your destination. Am I right? Well, hibernation technology that could help you sleep for over 200,000 years doesn't exist yet, but hey, this is what if. Anything's possible. By the time your ship makes its arrival, any life that may exist on Kepler 69c today could evolve or advance into something entirely different. Think about it this way. 300,000 years ago, humans were just beginning to create stone tools and spears. And look at you now, making a trip across the galaxy. Looking back at the planet you left behind, who knows what changes would happen to our human civilization during your trip? No matter what, it's way too late to turn around now. Based on the planet's distance from its star, we know that Kepler 69c receives a similar amount of sunlight as Venus. And despite being more massive than Earth, it has a relatively low density. All this means is that instead of metals, this rocky planet is made of silicate and carbonate minerals. That could make things a little complicated. You see, with all these minerals in the crust, Kepler 69c could have a really thick atmosphere. And to make matters worse, this atmosphere would be composed mostly of carbon dioxide. Uh-oh. Did you choose the wrong super-Earth to travel to? Yeah, if Kepler 69c is anything like Venus, it would be a pretty hot planet. All because, similar to Venus, its clouds would trap the heat and create an extreme greenhouse effect. Kepler 69c's atmosphere would be caught in an endless cycle of getting thicker and hotter. But nobody said this world should be habitable for you. Oh no, once you took off your helmet, you'd instantly melt and suffocate. Like I said, life on this planet would be completely different from what you'd imagine. As you made your approach, you'd find surface temperatures as high as 475 degrees Celsius, and the atmospheric pressure would be over 90 times that of Earth at sea level. It would be like being 900 meters deep in the ocean, except you'd be on dry land. with conditions like this, you'd likely not find anything resembling an ocean here. Just like on Venus, the high temperatures would boil away all the water. Whatever life you could potentially encounter on this planet, it would need to be able to survive in these brutal conditions. Or it would have to exist somewhere else besides the surface. One place you could discover life on Kepler-69c would be up in the clouds. Around 50 kilometers up, temperatures would be much cooler. They would range from about 30 to 70 degrees Celsius. And with its low density, this planet could have a surface gravity that would be just over 70% of what's found on Earth. This weaker gravity could allow life forms to thrive in the sky, where Kepler-69c is most hospitable. Life could just be floating freely in the atmosphere. This would be another way in which this planet could have far more in common with Venus than with Earth. Probes around Venus have picked up traces of a gas that could be a potential sign of life: phosphine. If you discovered phosphine in Kepler-69c's atmosphere, it could be the result of bacteria that don't require oxygen to survive. But be ready to hold your nose. This smelly gas has an odor similar to decaying fish. On Earth, the bacteria that produce phosphine often live in swamps or wetlands, but on Venus or Kepler-69c, this bacteria could exist in the thick, oxygenless atmosphere itself. So, in the end, you may have traveled a very long way to find the smallest and stinkiest of life forms. Now, on the upside, you've just discovered extraterrestrial life.
Do you ever feel like you're being watched? Not by a creepy stalker, but by aliens. Well, it might be happening. Just like we watch animals at the zoo, aliens may be out there watching us, like we're the zoo animals. But why exactly would they be doing this in the first place? Could they be afraid of us? This is What If. And here's what would happen if we lived in a galactic zoo. Imagine being trapped in a zoo. Well, if we really do live in a galactic zoo, then you'd already be in one. Aliens could be out there watching your every move. They may want to study the human race, or learn from our technology. Or maybe they're planning to attack us. But what if instead of attacking us, the aliens are afraid of us attacking them? Wait, what? If you've watched any sort of sci-fi movie, you may think of aliens as the bad guys. The ones who attack our planet and steal all our resources. Hey, shoot, get out of there. Get away. Go. But never mind humans being afraid of aliens. They may be afraid of us. Think about it. It's entirely possible that aliens have been watching Earth since the birth of humanity. If aliens have been hanging around since the beginning, think of all the horrible destruction they've seen humans cause. Deforestation, pollution, and let's not forget about war. Lots of war. Humans are constantly trying to kill each other. It's estimated that almost 1 billion people have died from war throughout history. So from the aliens' perspective, humans might seem like an incredibly violent, scary species. They may not want to make contact because they're afraid of how we might react, which could very well be with violence. And while aliens might be watching us, we aren't confined to a zoo. We have left the Earth and gone to the moon. But are we sure that intelligent life is even out there? Well, the odds are pretty good. The existence of alien life could be explained by the Fermi paradox. We have our sun, but in the universe there are billions of other suns. And they're billions of years older than our solar system. Orbiting these other suns could be Earth-like planets. And on Earth-like planets, there's a good chance of there being highly intelligent life. With so many worlds out there, there's an even better chance that at least one of them has developed interstellar travel. The Fermi paradox suggests that with interstellar travel, it would take a few million years to travel through the entire Milky Way galaxy. You may think that sounds like an incredibly long time, but if there's a civilization that is billions of years older than us, it would just be a tiny fraction of their history. So, if all this is true, which is very likely, the aliens may have already found us. And apart from us being a pretty violent species, we may not be interesting enough for them to make contact with us. We may just be another life form out of the thousands or millions that the aliens have seen. After all, if you see an ant colony on the ground, do you try to make contact with it? You most likely go along with your day. To other life forms out there, we may just be a simple group of ants. Ants they don't want to hurt or bother. Just observe. Another thing we have to keep in mind is how we communicate with the aliens. Ants in our world might be trying to communicate with us, but unless they send the right signals, we'll never know. The same goes for the aliens and us. We may not be communicating with the aliens the right way. They may not even know that we want to make contact with them, so they just leave us alone. Attention human, you are receiving an interstellar radio transmission. And it could be coming from one of the nearest exoplanets, Proxima Centauri b. What conditions make this planet a candidate for alien life? What types of civilizations could have flourished there? And should we expect them to be knocking on Earth's door any day now? This is What If, and here's what would happen if there were an alien civilization on Proxima b. At a distance of 4.2 light-years away, Proxima Centauri is one of the closest stars to our Sun. In 2016, a planet was discovered orbiting in Proxima Centauri's Goldilocks zone. That's where conditions for liquid water could exist. Meet Proxima b, a planet that registers at 0.87 on the Earth Similarity Index. This scale measures how similar a planet or moon is to Earth, and anything above 0.8 is considered Earth-like. As another example, Mars has an ESI of 0.64. In 2020, astronomers recorded a mysterious radio signal coming from the direction of Proxima Centauri. Could it be that an alien civilization was attempting to contact us? Though Proxima b is similar to Earth, life forms on this alien planet would likely develop very differently. For starters, the planet is about 20 times closer to its star than Earth is to the Sun. And it only needs 11.2 days for one full revolution. That's a lot of New Year's celebrations. But still, Proxima b receives about the same amount of solar energy as Earth. And that's because Proxima Centauri is an M-type red dwarf star. Compared to our G-type star, these stars are generally cooler, in a range of 2200 to 3200 degrees Celsius. But there would be some extreme conditions that an alien civilization would have to adapt to. These extraterrestrials would need to be able to withstand radiation, and lots of it. The planet receives about 400 times more X-rays than Earth, and dwarf stars like Proxima Centauri give rise to coronal mass ejections that would blast the planet with lethal radiation. Without a protective atmosphere, this would be deadly for any potential life forms. Another challenge for a Proxima b civilization would be tidal locking. That's when a planet takes the same amount of time to spin on its axis as it does to orbit its star. Imagine living where you permanently face the scorching sun while the other side of the Earth is in a constant state of frozen darkness. This is what life would be like on this exoplanet. Civilizations on Proxima b would likely develop in the so-called terminator zones. These are the strips of twilight between the day side and the night side. Here, winds would carry warm air and create life-supporting conditions. And aliens would build thermal reactors with the mix of cool and hot water to have that H2O always available. But if civilizations appeared on either of the sides of the Terminator Zone, they'd need to develop different survival tactics. But collaboration and unity could allow them to supply each other with heat or ice effectively. And if a civilization developed on the light side, would they even know that there were other stars or objects in the universe? Would they even think about other life out in space? That brings us back to the radio signal the Breakthrough Listen project recorded in 2020. This signal occupied a very narrow band of the radio spectrum at 982 megahertz. This is startling because it's a portion of the spectrum rarely used by human-made transmitters. Researchers haven't ruled out the possibility that these signals originated on Earth, but there are many unanswered questions. One thing they're sure of, it didn't come from a natural world. Only manufactured or alien-made technology seems to produce signals like that. So, if an advanced civilization was trying to communicate with us from Proxima b, what would their society be like? They could be a Type 1 civilization like us and use the energy available from their planet, like oil, wind, or geothermal power. Or they could be a Type 2 civilization, using energy on the scale of their planetary system. That would mean they were thousands of years more advanced than us. Would they have developed complex languages and live in cities? Would they have democratic forms of governance? Or would they live under the rule of a dictator? You must have so many questions for our alien neighbors, and they would have so many questions for you. Or maybe they already know everything. Unfortunately, we likely won't be able to visit them anytime soon. Using current technologies, it would still take between 19,000 and 81,000 years to reach them. Of course, maybe they could travel faster than the speed of light and get here first. And who knows what would happen when they finally get here?
"120 light years away from us, there's an exoplanet that can potentially host life. It's called K2-18b, and it's a world you'd want to visit. K2-18b isn't exactly like Earth, it's more like a super Earth. Yeah, it's 2.6 times larger and almost 9 times more massive than our planet. Scientists think it could be a Haitian exoplanet, which is just a fancy way of saying that it likely has a hydrogen-rich atmosphere and is covered in liquid ocean. That means that K2-18b could be home to alien life. Only it would take a really long time to get there. If you were hurtling toward this space rock from Earth, you'd reach your destination in about 1.3 million years. Yeah, you heard right. Million. K2-18b has a lot of methane and carbon dioxide in its atmosphere. That's not exactly breathable air, so you'd still need a spacesuit to walk on this world. And I wouldn't be too hyped up about its ocean either. If an exoplanet has liquid on it, it doesn't mean that the liquid is water. It could be methane or ammonia, even acid. Like, even in our own solar system, there's a moon covered in liquid lakes, but these are methane and ethane lakes, and I wouldn't recommend swimming there. K2-18b could have a pretty mild temperature. For an exoplanet, that is. At minus 100 degrees Celsius,
you'd find this world incredibly cold. Now, the most exciting thing we've found out about this world is that it could have traces of dimethyl sulfide. Woot woot! Well, on Earth, this molecule can only be produced by living things, and that means K2-18b could be home to alien life. Now, it doesn't mean that this life would be intelligent. It could be aquatic or microbial. Maybe even complex life if the conditions for it are just right. We won't know for sure unless we travel to explore this interstellar world. Now, how do we know all this? Well, we had the James Webb Space Telescope look at this distant world and take detailed measurements of its atmosphere. Most of the exoplanets have been discovered using what's called the transit method. It's when a planet passes in front of its star and blocks its starlight. That's when scientists study the wavelengths around the planets, and some of those wavelengths can tell us what kind of atmosphere those distant planets have. The problem is, exoplanets are really far away. Trying to figure out what their surfaces are like just by peering through even our most powerful telescopes is not easy. Some scientists will argue that K2-18b isn't a super Earth at all, but a mini Neptune. And that's a bummer because, as you know, Neptune is an ice giant. And if K2-18b is also an ice giant, then the chances for alien life on this planet don't look so good. Now, you don't have a million years to travel to this world to discover it for yourself, so maybe we should look at a world that's a lot closer to Earth. Like Proxima Centauri b. Proxima Centauri is the closest star we've discovered, only 4.2 light-years away from Earth. It's part of the Alpha Centauri star system, with not 2 but 3 stars orbiting each other. The exoplanet Proxima Centauri b orbits only one of these stars, but you'll still see the other 2 stars as bright dots in the sky. This exoplanet is slightly larger than Earth and revolves uncomfortably close to its host star. Luckily, that star is a red dwarf, and that's much cooler and smaller than our sun. Which is good news because that means this planet isn't getting toasted like Mercury. Scientists estimate Proxima Centauri b has an average temperature of about -39 degrees Celsius. That's pretty comfortable as far as alien worlds go. The bad news is that we still don't know much about the exoplanet's gravity or atmosphere. It might be our best candidate to set up an interstellar base, but it also could have a harsh environment, unsuitable for humanity's future home. It might even have an ocean of acid, or something deadly like that. The only way to find out is to travel there. And if Proxima Centauri b doesn't work out, well, don't worry, there are plenty of potentially habitable worlds out there. Like this one. Ross 128b is 11 light-years from Earth. It's the second closest potentially habitable world scientists have discovered. And it's more promising than Proxima Centauri b. The thing is, they both orbit red dwarf stars, only Proxima b's host star is a lot more active and violent. It occasionally erupts and bathes Proxima b in radiation. Ross 128b's star is nice and quiet. And even though this world orbits 20 times closer to its star than Earth is to the Sun, it still lies in the habitable zone. Because like I said, red dwarfs are way cooler than the Sun. And by cooler, I just mean temperature. This world could have a balmy average temperature of 23 degrees Celsius. That's only slightly hotter than the average temperature here on Earth. I don't know about you, but I could settle there. Now, we don't know enough about this world to call it our new home. It likely has lots of harmful radiation reaching its surface, and its atmosphere might not be breathable. But hey, that's not much worse than Mars. With efficient life support systems in place, we could make it work. Besides, this super Earth might have its own life on it. If Ross 128b did have alien life, it could be extremely different from what you might imagine. Just think about making the first contact with an alien species. What would that be like? I mean, it could go very wrong, too. For one, we might not survive the trip to any exoplanets, even the nearest ones. So far, we've discovered and confirmed over 5,000 alien worlds. 63 of them are potentially habitable, but we just can't know for sure. Europa, the icy moon of Jupiter. A frigid world that would turn you into an astronaut popsicle. And an atmosphere that would take your breath away. Literally, because Europa's atmosphere is so thin it's almost non-existent. And while it's mostly made up of oxygen, this oxygen isn't breathable for you. You just wouldn't be able to inhale it in this extremely low-pressure environment. And this frozen world has a dark secret. Deep under its thick crust of ice, it might just hide life. That's why we're sending a member of our team on a mission to explore Europa and find out if anything can survive in this unforgiving environment. Chase, we need you on this one-way trip to Jupiter's neighborhood.
Mission Control, this is Chase, orbiting Europa and ready for landing. Did you know it would actually take you like 6 years to get here from Earth? But luckily, I'm already here, and I love finding new alien buddies when they're not trying to kill me.
All right, Chase. Initiate the landing sequence.
Already on it. Rico, start the landing sequence. I totally forgot.
Landing sequence initiated. 500 meters and descending. 400 meters. 100. Touchdown confirmed.
Oh, it's bright! It's bright! Oh, my eyeballs!
That's strange. Europa is 5 times farther from the sun than Earth and gets much less sunlight than we do. It must be so bright because of Europa's icy surface. All that ice is highly reflective. That, plus an almost absent atmosphere, could make the light feel very harsh. So just use the protective tinted visor and your eyes will be fine. Chase, what's your status?
Yeah, I'd say Europa's pretty similar to Earth. If Earth had no atmosphere, was covered in ice, and had absolutely no interesting oceans to see. So in short, it sucks, what if guy. I'm freezing out here.
Yeah, you'd need an advanced thermal insulation layer in your suit to keep you warm. The surface temperature on Europa is about minus 145 degrees Celsius, and it can get as cold as minus 220 degrees Celsius. It's also bathed in radiation. That's because Europa orbits so close to Jupiter, and Jupiter has a massive magnetic field that traps a lot of high-energy particles inside it. Your spacesuit would need to be able to withstand that, too.
Great.
Europa is one of the 4 largest moons of Jupiter. It's still slightly smaller than our moon, but it's a lot more exciting. Mainly because it has the potential to host life.
Looks pretty lifeless, if you ask me.
Well, it is, on the surface. Look, life needs 3 ingredients to exist on any world. The first one is liquid water. Well, Europa has plenty of that. NASA's Galileo spacecraft, which spent 8 years orbiting Jupiter, gathered some data on Europa too. And that data led scientists to believe that this moon has twice as much water as all of Earth's oceans.
Well, I regret to report that your scientist data is wrong. I don't see no water, only ice. This mission is a waste of my precious time.
No, it isn't. You don't see them because these enormous oceans aren't on the surface. They're deep below Europa's thick, icy crust. That brings us to another ingredient for life: energy. On Earth, life mostly gets energy from the sun, but that's not the case on Europa. First of all, because Europa is so far away from the sun, and secondly, because if there is life on Europa, it's likely we'd find it under the ice, where there's no sunlight at all. Europa gets its energy from the effects of tidal heating, and it has Jupiter to thank for that. Yeah, the enormous gravity of the solar system's biggest planet is constantly pulling on Europa, bulging and cracking its ice. This causes friction, and the friction heats this moon from the inside. That's why Europa's subsurface ocean doesn't freeze over like the rest of this frigid world. Europa might also have hydrothermal vents on its ocean floor, just like Earth does. These vents spew out heat, energy, and chemicals, potentially creating a habitable environment around them. The last ingredient for life is chemical elements. Most living things are made up of stuff like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. And based on the data we collected about Europa, this moon's got all that. But of course, no one has ever been on Europa to confirm this. Until now.
And what's that?
Yeah, those are Europa's famous cryovolcanoes. These volcanoes don't erupt with lava, but with water and ice.
Ice volcanoes? That's sick! Oh my god. Okay. So, how do you suggest I find life here? This ice looks thick.
Yeah, you'd have to drill through it. And you'd need special equipment, like a high-performance drill designed for extreme cold, electrically powered by a portable nuclear generator, lightweight with a heating mechanism and a sample retrieval system.
Right, great. So just like the everyday stuff that you would just happen to carry around with you on your spaceship. No, I'm serious. I happen to have that on my spaceship. I have the best drill in the universe. I'm so excited to meet who's down here.
Oh, hold on. The chances of seeing any kind of life with your own eyes are slim. Because that life, if it exists, is likely microscopic. But if you get a sample of that salty water, well, you can examine it and maybe find traces of microorganisms.
That's not how I pictured this mission, but since we're here, let's do this.
While you can't improve the odds of seeing aliens on Europa, you can increase the opportunity of seeing more of Chase's epic adventures on What If. We've already traveled with him to Titan, Venus, even Uranus, and there's so much more we want to show you. That's why we launched our What If Explorers Club on Patreon. That's where we give you the top secret behind the scenes, extended director's cuts, mind-blowing art, epic merch discounts, and our endless love and gratitude. Support us on Patreon to get exclusive content and help us send Chase to his death. Over and over and over again.
Hey! I don't feel so good. I think I might puke.
Your body temperature is rising. You're experiencing the symptoms of radiation poisoning.
I did warn you that radiation levels on Europa are high. Even in your spacesuit, you'd still feel headaches, nausea, dizziness, all the fun that comes from radiation sickness. And all that after spending only a few hours on this moon. If you don't return to your shielded spacecraft immediately, this exposure will kill you.
Huh? Oh, no. I'm fine now. I'm good, Rico. I just need to lie down for 5 minutes.
That's a bad idea. You need to return the samples to the spaceship.
Right. The samples. I have to get the samples. This is still so sick, though.
The impact force from the cryovolcano has damaged your spacesuit. You're losing oxygen.
I should have subscribed to the top tier of What If's Patreon.
In the extreme conditions of Europa, without the full protection of a suit, you'd only have a few minutes to get to safety. In just 1 minute, severe frostbite would damage your exposed skin. After 2 minutes, you'd start shivering. cue hypothermia. Another 10 minutes later and you'd lose consciousness and freeze to death. Oh, wait, scratch all that. Looks like Chase's suit lost all the oxygen and he just suffocated. Now we'll never know if those samples had any life in them. Is alien life really out there? Humanity has wondered about it for decades. And according to scientists, it might finally be a reality. Astronomers have discovered there could be life on Venus. Does this mean we finally meet aliens? Could this help us discover other aliens? And what does this discovery mean for us? This is What If, and here's what would happen if there's life on Venus. Venus might not be as alien as you think. The planet is roughly the same size as Earth, and its gravity is 91% of our planet's. We always talk about Mars being a potential home for humans, but we shouldn't count out Venus either. And if there is life on the planet, could this speed up our process of making it our new home? First, let's look into why exactly scientists think there might be life on Venus. It all has to do with phosphine. This is a colorless, flammable, and explosive gas that's also pretty stinky. It smells like a mix of garlic and decaying fish. Ugh. This gas can be found on Earth, and it's dangerous to everything that uses oxygen to survive. It was used as a chemical weapon during World War I and is a byproduct of cooking methamphetamine. Yeah, this gas is not very pleasant, and it can be extremely deadly, but now astronomers have found that phosphine might be in Venus's atmosphere. At first glance, this might seem like a terrible thing because this gas kills anything that breathes oxygen. But that doesn't mean that life can't exist. Just because something doesn't require oxygen doesn't mean it's completely lifeless. Inside Venus's clouds of phosphine, there could be anaerobic bacteria. These are organisms that don't require oxygen to survive. They could be living on Venus, producing this phosphine gas. Keep in mind that all of this is not fully verified yet, but astronomers have been keeping an eye on Venus for nearly all of 2020, and this is what they think they've discovered. So, if this type of alien life really did exist on Venus, what would it mean for us humans? Well, when you first hear about alien life, you probably think about Martians with big heads and us being able to shake their hands, but that wouldn't be possible with these life forms on Venus. As it stands right now, we wouldn't be able to see any of the life on Venus with our naked eye. It's all bacteria and microbes. And with all that potential phosphine on the planet, it makes visiting Venus more dangerous for humans than ever. So, will we be meeting this life form anytime soon? Probably not. Is this discovery still incredibly exciting? Absolutely. And sure, it's discouraging that we haven't found Martians yet, but try not to be too disappointed. When discovering potential alien life, we should remember to expand our ideas about what exactly these alien life forms could be. They don't necessarily have to be something with 2 or 4 legs that humans are able to interact with. The possibilities for potential alien life are endless. Things we can't even imagine yet. And who knows what this current life form could turn into? It may start small, but in millions of years, we might see Venus bloom into a planet full of organic life. And life on Venus might not be limited to organisms living in phosphine gas either. Experts think that due to all the extreme climates on the planet, life could form almost anywhere. And that goes for the rest of the solar system too. With scientists discovering potential life on Venus, who knows what else is out there? Researchers will just have to keep searching to find out. Speaking of researchers, one of the lead scientists who made this exciting Venus discovery is on this week's What If Discussed. We sit down with Dr. Sarah Seeger to talk about how she found this potential life on Venus and what exactly it means for other life in the solar system. Check it out.
Aliens have invaded Earth, and they're not here to play. No, they're here for our resources, our planet, and maybe even you. In this episode, I'm going to take you through what would happen during the first 48 hours of an alien invasion. Yeah, all the way from first contact to what the world looks like at the end of 2 days. And trust me, it's not going to be pretty. Or maybe it could be a beneficial relationship. Maybe these aliens would want to cooperate with us. Well, I guess we'll have to watch to find out. Hour 1.